I'm coming to talk to you for a bit about what the title says, about what I observed about weight loss surgery, all the weight loss surgeries, and I've been in on YouTube since December of 2011, right? And I have had Lapband in September of 2012. I started off in obesity, what technically they call class 1. I was 80 pounds overweight, and I chose the Lapband. That was my choice of bariatric surgery. At the time, that was the research that I uncovered was the least invasive. I was 52 years old, right? I didn't really understand my metabolic, hormonal disorder at the time, and didn't know that I was food addicted. Didn't know that I had caused part of my obesity for a number of reasons, but I chose the Lapband, and I thought that I was doing the right thing for a choice of procedures. So at that time, my best friend had the Lapband, and she, at the time that I had my Lapband placed, she went into gastric bypass, and she was on the road to lose 100 pounds. She had gastric bypass. She had bariatric surgery the same time I did by the same doctor. She had the Lapband placed for 2 years and wound up with Barrett's esophagus. She does have had a genetic problem with Barrett's esophagus. Her dad had it, but I thought, for the reasons being that maybe it was because she had caused it. But now, and hence, in hindsight, with 5 years post-op Lapband, I realized that there's a problem with the Lapband, and you can see all over the United States and all over the world that people have the Lapband have had revisions. They've either taken their Lapband out due to malfunctions, lack of losing weight, gaining weight, other reasons, slippage, ulcers, continue to PB. There's a lot of reasons why, and I'm not here to judge them. I'm not here to judge anybody. But what I've seen, and research shows, within 5 years, we're all equal, right? We're all equal, and why are we all equal is because after 5 years, your chances are you're going to gain 10% of your weight back, because there's what you call that lovely phase that we like to use in the weight loss community, the honeymoon phase, and it does exist. It's not a phenomenon. With the first year, you reach your golden opportunity of losing the most amount of weight, and after the year's done, things happen, right? Either life gets in the way, or you have medical issues, or you stop exercising, you stop tracking your calories. There's a lot of variables that go into that, why you gain your weight. And I'm not judging anybody, and I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, but it's the research that shows it. But they don't tell you that when you embark on a weight loss journey. They picture a rosy picture, and they tell you, as long as you follow the rules, as long as you exercise, and as long as you, quote, change your lifestyle, that you're forever going to stay that honeymoon weight. Well, we know, if you research, that that's certainly not true. And it's certainly not true with metabolism, hormonal shifts, age. But you try your hardest to stay at that honeymoon weight, right? and then comes to the realization that you don't stay at that weight, and then it's devastating, right? So some people gain all their weight back, and some people stay in the what you call maintenance phase, which I am in the maintenance phase. I fight to stay to keep the 55 pounds off that I lost. I originally lost 65 pounds, but I gained 10% back. And I had to really fight not to go beyond that. And, you know, if you look back on my videos, I really try to stay within the means of following the Lapband rules. Nobody can be 100% perfect. I mean, how can you honestly say that tracking for the rest of your life, not eating out, not socially engaging in alcohol, desserts, that's just not, you just can't do it, right? So if you know about metabolism and you know about the quote starvation metabolism, they call that metabolic disorders, they call that metabolic dysfunction, they call that leptin resistance, they call that insulin resistance. There's all kinds of names, right? And they mix you up in all those kind of names. Even I've seen some gastric bypass gain all their weight back, right? And they, quote, have had the best metabolic, or what do you call that, the malabsorption. They have the best weight loss surgery. Well, some of them gain it back after 5 years. As a matter of fact, the statistics show that I think over 70% people will gain their weight back even with gastric bypass. And they constantly pull the trigger and they tell us that we're doing everything wrong, that we're big old fatties and we're not exercising and we're not watching what we eat and we're not doing all the things right. I don't buy that anymore, because I live with a person who has a high metabolism, who exercises moderately, doesn't do any heavy cardio, just lifts weights he does a light workout 3 days a week, and he eats like crap, and he's 67 years old, and he's never been fat. He has nobody fat in his family or obese or overweight. They're like this genetically spectacular, long legs, leanness. I think it has to do with genetics, and it has to do with metabolism. And then when you put that into unhealthy eating, sedentary lifestyles, illness, medications, all these things, and then you wind up metabolically ruining your body. And the new procedure out, and I've seen some people actually get all the weight loss surgery. They had Lapband, they've had went to sleeve, and then they went to gastric bypass, and then the last resort is the DS, and there's several different types of DS. There's anastomosis, different anastomosis that they're doing, shorten the intestines to where you poop your brains out. Gosh, some people, I don't know how they deal with that. And then some people, just nutritionally, vitamin-wise, even my girlfriend, my bestie, she had a iron deficiency and had to have iron infusions, which a lot of gastric bypass people have had. Lapbanders, we usually suffer from chronic PB and fighting to keep what weight loss, if we lost any weight at all, off. I don't know what the answer is, because the cat's out of the bag that you could gain weight, all your weight back with gastric bypass. Now, the duodenal switch hasn't been out that long. I don't think they've done much research long term. I don't think anybody has been 10-year study out yet. But you know, it's all that research is kind of skewed, and it's kind of all the research is skewed, really. As a matter of fact, in my bariatric, I went to 3 different bariatric surgeons. Now, my bariatric surgeon to begin with, when she went every time, she would measure my weight, and the weight was the number one thing. She never looked at all the metrics. She never looked at my muscle mass. Maybe she did, but she never talked to me about it. She never looked at my water weight. She never looked at my fat mass. It was always based on the BMI. And I got down to my normal BMI in 12 months, within the 15 months. And then I hovered around that. And then after 3 years, socially, psychologically, I started to gain weight. And I had a problem with my health. So I'm doing the fasting deal, low carb, sort of like every other day fasting, and trying to get off the 10 pounds that I gained. I gained 4 pounds in 2017, so I was up to 15 pounds, and a lot of it was inflammation. I don't want to rehash that. So I'm not really too convinced that even the weight loss surgeries are 100% to keep us all out of obesity, because the research doesn't show that. After 5 years, still there's a tendency to gain weight. Why? Well, you have to maintain that low-calorie diet, and you have to maintain, once you started on a path of either low-calorie or a lot of exercise, either way, if you don't keep that up, or a combination of two, you're going to gain your weight back. And once you don't do that, depending upon whatever life hack or life reason, or just depression or pregnancy or breakup of a relationship or alcoholism, or all these things, modalities factor in, change your lifestyle again, and you wind up gaining your weight back. So I don't know. I really don't know what the answer is. But I do know that they're making a lot of money off of people, to give them so to speak, some inaccurate information, to where they will never be in obesity again, and you'll never gain that weight back, because it's not true. It's not true. So if you've had bariatric surgery, or you're planning to have bariatric surgery, you're going to have to continue to fight, because it's never a free ride. There's no easy way out. And you're just going to have to continue to fight for the rest of your life. Simple as that. Else you go back to your set point. You go back to the weight or more than when you started from. So this is not a judgment call on anybody. This is just my dogma, my research. And it's true. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again.